.9 pounds. He's fighting out of Northampton in England and brings it to the cage a mixed martial arts record of 2 wins. Introducing Martin Petrilla. Your referee charge and action begins, Mr. Daniel Movaheady.
Referee Dan Movaheady about to get this one underway. 3 5-minute rounds if they need them in the Cage Warriors lightweight division. Game day Alhaji and Dai in the white. Marion Lion Puncher Petrilla, 10 out of 10 to that nickname, by the way, in the black. Touch of gloves, and we are underway. Nice wide stance from both men to start things off. Referee there just asking him to keep those shots legal. Of course, no ill intent there, but these things can happen. Triller blocking the kick there and finding a way in with that left hand. Nice kick to the lead leg of Ndai there. And he forces the MMA factory man to shoot, but he's latched up a guillotine here.
Yeah, guillotine looks pretty good, actually. He's in that high elbow position, and I think that this guillotine is on. There's nothing that Ndai's really doing to defend against it. He might be out here. I mean, it looks like he's fighting it. The ref's having a good look. He's now switching the pull guard off of this position. That elbow, that left elbow is still high. I mean, if anything, yeah, he's had to release that position just because of the angle that he landed on. And I would have said that if you're feeling good in that position, kind of stay there. The position that you see that he's going to is a great position to finish the guillotine. The problem is you don't want to set it up from standing, because that space, as you fall down, you generally lose the position. That's what's happened, but he's very close. If he can free that right foot, he's going to be straight into a triangle position. And Ndai really isn't doing anything to defend against this. He's sitting in this position. You know, when you have one of your arms on the outside, he's kind of almost just a little bit lucky, or you see how a small amount, when I say lucky, you know, a small amount of that foot still caught on the inside, that foot pops out and he throws up the triangle. A good job there of escaping it, but it's very kind of concerning when someone's in those close to submission positions and they're not doing much active stuff to defend against them. They're either very, very confident in their late stage submission defense, or they're just a little bit too complacent in the position. Another guillotine attempt here.
He does have a guillotine submission victory on his pro ledger.
I mean, that guillotine would look really, really good. I'm not sure why he decided to jump into that open guard position in order to finish it. It's sort of one of the only scenarios where I'd look to jump into a closed guard position to try and finish the guillotine, because it did look really close with the referee in there having a look. And but he finds himself inside of the closed guard now, plenty of time to work, and a couple of close submission attempts here. He's throwing those legs up, another triangle attempt here. And Ndai's kind of just powering through all of this, kind of really using physicality. A guillotine of his own now, and now he goes into the closed guard position. Switching back to a stand, and the difference is this is an arming guillotine, so very, very different. He uses this position to try and drop down into a takedown. This is kind of what started the whole guillotine and grappling sequence off, was that initial sort of slow shot from Ndai.
Good work there to get himself off the cage. Nice knee on the break there, but
I think we're going to see another guillotine attempt. He's nice and high here. Beautiful position. Now this looks good. This looks very good here, and I think he should stay in this position. He loses the hands, and this is one of the big things. I mean, he's still in the position here, but it's so difficult. One of the big things.
A little bit slow to get up there.
Very slow to get up there.
Not sure if that's an indication that he might be a little bit tired early on, but...
Oh, he eats a knee as he shoots in here. And an easy reversal. It doesn't look to be too much fight in Ndai here.
Knee on belly there, and handing away with these elbows is Petrilla.
And again, Mike, you've got to think after so many sort of fails on this guillotine that maybe the best choice here is actually just to stay on top and continue to land some damage here. He's allowed Ndai to tie up that sort of body lock position around the hips here and take top position again.
Gende on top now, looking to get some ground and pound going, but not a whole lot of zip behind those punches.
Oh, beautiful movement here to try and come out the back to this. He can still do this here. If he takes his left hand and brings it to the outside, you can take what we're quite sort of becoming more modern, the octopus guard position. just trying to, we saw how Vitrilla made space before. He just brings his feet to the hips and kicks away as hard as he can here. And this is pretty much the defense that he's going for here. He's trying to bring the feet onto the hips and just using those legs to create a lot of space. 30 seconds left. I think he'll probably be quite happy to sort of sit here and try and work off of his back a little bit. I'm not sure if it's worth the energy to try and really do too much with not a lot of time left on the clock here. And yeah, Ndai looking very, very tired. He's got to be careful about giving this back up. I mean, not a lot of time to work here, but I've seen crazier things happen.
Well, this is where it's going to get interesting as we end this first round and move into the later stages of the fight. Myron Vitrilla does not have a lot of cage time. His last fight ended in just 19 seconds with a head kick, 94 seconds for his only other pro bout, and both his amateur fights ended pretty early as well. El Hajj, by contrast, got the distance quite a few times over his career at amateur and pro. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare as the fight gets into the later stages. But if you're asking me right now, Dan, who looks the fitter man in the cage, it's Vitrilla.
I would 100% agree with you, but it is quite interesting. I don't know whether, like I said, he was maybe just not fighting too hard, Vitrilla not fighting too hard towards the end of that round. And, you know, we saw the best grappling and the best, most dominant positions in the grappling from Ndai right at the end of that round. But he certainly has been looking the more fatigued out of all of them. And he has been fighting quite aggressively to escape a lot of these submission attempts. He's been aggressively trying to get the takedown and been in some quite energetic scrambles. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be very interesting to see how they come out for the second round.
See El Hajj pressing forward there, but walks right into that knee as he changes levels. He's going to have to be very careful of that from Vitrilla in the second round when those shots are a little bit slower and a little bit more telegraphed.
Ready?
Certainly a more active El Hajj Ndai than we saw in the early stages of his fight against Adam Shelley, though. In the fight against Shelley, he kind of got fired up towards the end. It's going to be a good time for him, and maybe that's what we're seeing here. And Mohammedi just checking the legality of the elbows there, right on top of the action. Nice ground and pound from the Senegal man here.
You know, I was thinking I'd like to see a little bit more activity off of the back from Vitrilla here. It's interesting to see what he's kind of thinking here. He's got both of his feet on the hip. Really, really easy pass there from Ndai, and Vitrilla needs to be super careful of this back take. He really does have to be careful, and he's got the hand in the right position. And Ndai's grappling just quite slow and not really taking advantage of big positions. He's picking up this leg, but he's facing the wrong direction. He actually might find that if Vitrilla's able to lock off a position here over under, I mean, he could even attempt possibly to just throw on this rear naked exchange. And Ndai is he's more dominant in this grappling, especially in the wrestling, compared to the first round massively. There is really none of those guillotine or front headlock attempts that we saw from Vitrilla in the first round. None of those have happened so far. But when Ndai sees the opportunities that he creates, he's quite slow at taking advantage of them.
Well, he's certainly putting points on the board here.
Yeah, this is a strong position here. A great position for him to just lay in and to strike from.
You would think Vitrilla's going to take that first round fairly comfortably. But Al-Hajj Ndai definitely in with the shout in the second here.
Yeah,
and then we're all even Stevens in the third and final round.
And you saw that defense that I was talking about in that first round from Petrilla, where he just looks to try and bring the feet to the hip and kick away. I mean, it has been relatively effective. He's back into standing position now. I wonder if we're going to see him look to attack a guillotine, or whether he's just thought after the first round, multiple attempts is just not worth going for. Huge pickups and mat returns from Ndai. I mean, 2, 3, or 4 in this round so far.
Yeah, and we talk about scoring for takedown. It's got to have impact. It's got to be a big, high amplitude slam. And we've seen a couple of those that judges could be giving Ndai the nod for there.
Yeah, Ndai's definitely been making sure that the takedown's going to count. It's going to count.
Trying to find a way around the legs of Marion Petrilla here.
Nice pass there, just grabbing on the back of the legs like a double under, but with suggested that is anything that he'd be interested in doing. What seems quite interesting from Ndai is that he seemed to have, in my opinion, I don't know what you think about this, Brad, he sort of got tired very quick, but after he's got tired, he's kind of just kept the same pace. He doesn't seem to have fatigued further than what he was halfway through the first round, which is, he's just sort of on this level continuously, whereas Petrilla definitely looks like he's starting to get tired. And Ndai is working on him the entire time, so there's no surprise there. And again, another easy takedown. Massive difference from that first round.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. You think if Ndai's got it in the tank to do that one more time, he could well be taking this one on the judges' scorecards. We'll have to see how they scored that round. Obviously, we're not scoring here from cage side, but my indication, my gut feeling is that Ndai maybe takes that second round. Even Stevens going into the third.
I'm pretty sure that Ndai took that second round. I'm trying to remember if there was any sort of damage done or effective grappling or anything from Petrilla in that second round. And off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that he did. So you've got to assume that Ndai is going to be taking that second round. I'd agree with you, Brad. I think even Stevens, I think that Ndai is, the momentum shift in his direction here. And
well, there was that nice knee in the second round, and you maybe argue that was the most significant strike of the round, but didn't seem to diminish Al-Hajj Ndai too much when he took it. Was able to power through with the takedown. It's going to be a very interesting third round. And looking at the body language of Marin now, he's trying to shake it out, get ready for this third and final frame here in Cardiff.
Yeah, and what Petrilla needs to do here, he really just needs to sort of chalk that last round down as, what happens, and really come out in this third round fresh and maybe try to change up that strategy a little bit. He can't allow Ndai to out-wrestle him in the same way he was doing before. Another guillotine attempt here, and this is a good position. This is a strong position. I think the head's going to slip out, and there it goes.
Around the legs of Petrilla as he did in the second round.
Yeah, I think what Petrilla, a little adjustment that Petrilla can make to try and wrestle up from some of these open positions, because Ndai is leaving, he's dominating, but he's dominating whilst also leaving quite a lot of space. There are opportunities for Petrilla to do stuff. A lot of the time, Petrilla takes those opportunities just to create excess space and try and stand. I think that he could possibly use some of these to wrestle up. We haven't seen Petrilla in top position since the first round, and I think that is, if it's going to be on the ground, that's the position that he's going to want to get it to. I think at this stage, a little bit too tight, maybe a little bit too slippery to have much offensiveness off of the back. I'm sure he's going to throw up these legs and try and attack something, but every time he's throwing these legs up for arm bars, triangles, and Ndai is either just pulled out of it or he's passed off of it. So I think if Petrilla can find space and opportunity to try and wrestle up from here, then it would be a good game plan to do so. There you go. It's another triangle attempt there. And a pass onto the knees into turtle position. Now, this would be a great opportunity to try and wrestle up from there. And you see for a second there, he could have taken the back, but instead he tries to stay in front. And that's what I feel like he's been doing in the grappling the entire time.
Trying to create space there and get those strikes off. You saw he was really sizing up Ndai for that knee, but he just didn't come up.
Yeah, and Ndai is looking a lot more fatigued now. Suddenly a drop of the energy, and finally we see Petrilla get back to top position here. He tries to sneak that right leg on the inside for a hook, but instead takes the far side left hook He's on the back position. He's got to be very careful here not to slide over the top. This is a very, very high position. I think he's going to lose it from here. He could switch to an armbar, but yeah, position is lost now, and Ndai finds himself in top position again. That's really unlucky. He just went too high on that back position. But if I'm Vitrilla, I'm working really hard to try and get some sort of underhook and create another grappling exchange. I don't think Ndai looks physically powerful, but he doesn't look fast. And I think Vitrilla has to try and take advantage of that. I would have loved to have seen on that quick opportunity in that last exchange, Vitrilla try and come around to the back position. And if he can do that again, just take his time a little bit more once he's there and really try and secure the position.
Well, he's got half a round or just under left to play with. Has Vitrilla.
Here we go.
And, you know, we alluded to it earlier on. This is Vitrilla's first big test in mixed martial arts. And, you know, it can be a pretty big leap from the regional circuit in the UK to an international level opponent. And we're seeing how he's adjusting to that now. He's still got time to pull this round out of the bag.
He does have time, but, you know, it does look very much. We had a little glimmer of hope there as he took top position and took the back for a second. But I do have a feeling that Ndai is just going to be back to more of the same as what we saw in round 2 here, just sort of heavy pressure dominating. When it stands up, wrestle back in. No real answer in the wrestling department from Vitrilla, and that is kind of his undoing in this fight so far.
Just over 90 seconds now to play with for Marin Vitrilla and El Hadji Ndai. Ndai looking for his first Cage Warriors win in 3 outings.
Again, Vitrilla trying that same escape from the guard position. It's funny, in grappling, you'd never escape a guard position. It wouldn't be considered a position that you would escape from because it's not a negative position. But in MMA, of course, it absolutely is a negative position because the person in guard can just strike you from there. So you kind of escape the guard position and try and just moving out of the guard position.
Vitrilla back to his feet one last time.
Yeah,
and we're going to see another takedown here maybe from Ndai. He gets it.
Yeah, nice work from Vitrilla there to bring his left leg to the outside. To stop a potential back take from Ndai, but he's and elbows to the face of Vitrilla for the remaining 30 seconds of this round.
Yeah, Gende does not need to take any risks at this point in the fight. Does not want to be giving up a bad position. But I mean, even if he did, it's going to take a lot for Vitrilla to nick this round. Just seconds left to play with now. And this is a very astute game plan here from Ndai. Hasn't done anything he didn't need to. And as you said, Dan, kept that pace pretty much continuously from the end of the first round onwards. And I'm going to go out on the limb and say that's one in the last 2 rounds of that fight and his first Cage Warriors victory. Looking back at some of the action now, and there's that early single leg attempt. Vitrilla trying the guillotine, but not getting it.
Yeah, Vitrilla really struggled with his grip and position with those big gloves on throughout the first round, and on a lot of attempts when he used the guillotine later on in the fight, we saw some lovely
knees to the head there.
Yeah, great game
there. And you know, he went into this fight down +1 at 75, the underdog. So this considered an upset by the bookmakers at least. A lot of hype around Vitrilla. So